should federalism grow louder across the nation? Different regions articulating their visions for a more equitable Nigeria amid the wide array of proposals from state creation to power devolution and resource control. The voice of the Southwest is growing louder. For the Yoruba people of the Southwest, the agenda goes beyond mere political rhetoric. It's about redefining autonomy through federalism, protecting cultural heritage, and securing a stronger voice within the federation. But what exactly does this agenda entail? Is it a push for secession or a legitimate demand for a restructured federation where every region can thrive on its own terms? How do these demands fit within the broader national conversation? Joining me tonight is Oluwole Lewis, PRO Think Yoruba First, Ogwadulawa organization, is going to help us unpack the issues and chart a way forward. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Welcome to Politics Tonight. First, I'm sure many Nigerians would want to know more about this organization, Think Yoruba First, Ogwadulawa organization. What's it about?
Yes, like the name suggests, Think Yoruba First. It's pro-Yoruba organization, advocacy. We focus more on the intellectual advocacy, not physical violence. And we are well grounded in history. We have a lot of programs focused on youth, making sure we invest a lot on the political education of youths, and most importantly, making sure we protect the interest of Yorubas in Nigeria, not secession. We want to get the most out of we can get in this multi-ethnic enclave, yes.
And I wonder what that means. But would you say the current constitution amendment process is capable of delivering true federalism?
No, it isn't. And I think majority of Nigerians agree, in the sense that we believe in restructuring along ethno-linguistics line. There are lots of ethnicities that are molded up. For instance, the minorities, Middle Belt. I'm just using that as an example. There are lots of ethnicities that are forced to coexist together. And I'm sure you keep hearing of ethnic tensions here and there every time. There are states that should be created along linguistic lines.
When you say they are forced to exist together, and you say this is not about secession.
No, when I say exist together under the same states.
Okay.
Yes. You cannot do things the way you would want to do them. And at times, when you are with another ethnic group, if they are more than you in number, they can suppress you. That's what we've always noticed.
So you're pro-creation of more states?
Yes.
Okay.
Along this linguistics line, yeah.
What does that even mean?
Linguistic, I mean language,
okay,
and cultural ties, ancestral ties. You cannot force identities on people. And
you think that's what Nigeria needs at this moment?
Yes, because if there's no peace, there cannot be progress. Yes.
But many Yoruba leaders advocate for restructuring. How do you define it? And how can constitutional amendments bring about it?
Yes, restructuring from the financial point of view, we believe that regions or states should spend what they generate. That is what we believe. Not to spite any region, because we believe if you do not force regions or states to spend what they generate, they will not be challenged to do more.
This is democracy. You cannot practically force anyone.
No, I'm not saying force.
Okay.
If you are giving somebody, to use the word, free food every day, he wouldn't think outside the box that he has to do this or that. There's no region in the country that is not blessed. That is what we believe.
Yeah, that's a fact.
There's no region. But what we see is a little bit of reluctance to think outside the box, to do that which is necessary to generate funds. There's no region. We've done our research.
On the part of the state governors, I believe?
Yes. Part of the problem we have is the federal allocation, monthly allocation. State governors are used to going to Abuja, just get allocation. No matter what they contribute to the center, the federal allocation is based on population, landmass, and yes, population, landmass. So, irrespective of what you bring to the center, you get something. Yes, there's a percentage for derivation as well, but it's not much. The tax law that the president tried to implement, you can see what happened. There was a lot of uproar about the 60% derivation percentage. That was a major problem. And we have to have this conversation someday.
So
we have to have this
what
conversation.
does the Yoruba agenda mean in the context of Nigeria's constitution amendment process?
Yes, restructuring along ethno-linguistic line, more states. We are advocating for creation of Okun State, from Kogi State.
Okay.
There are ancestrally Yoruba indigenous lands there, Okun, about 7 local governments there. And they have been advocating to exist on their own Okun State. Yes, we also advocate for coastal states comprising Ishekiri from Delta, Warri, Ikale from Ondo, and Ondo North generally. So they're a little bit more close to each other. Like Ishekiri, they don't have anything in common with Urobos and Ijos, yet they are forced to stay under the same state.
But you know, the use of force may be misrepresented. I mean, with anyone listening to you,
no.
to use the word force. So, in your view now, what are the critical areas of the current Nigerian constitution that you feel goes against or does not favor the Yoruba agenda?
Yes, we want total federalism, fiscal federalism. No, we don't. We prefer 100% federalism. Let's everybody. We are not rigid. Yes, of course. We can meet them halfway. Yeah, but that is what we prefer.
So, you know, I was wondering, apart from your organization, Think Yoruba First, Ogwadulawo organization, we've had Yoruba World Congress, we've had Ilanomo Odua, we've had Afenifere, Development Agenda for Western Nigeria. Each of these organizations was either for full autonomy or decentralization. In clearer terms, what exactly are you advocating for? Full regional autonomy or just greater decentralization within the federation?
Yes, we want power to be decentralized. We prefer regional autonomy, but we are not rigid. What we want is for power to devolve down to the subnationals more, and for more states to be created along ethno-linguistic lines.
The president is already doing that.
No, not enough. Yes, with the tax laws, yes, he tried to do it, but it was only able to achieve 30% derivation. No, that's not enough.
But critics say regional agendas threaten national unity. How would you respond to that?
When you say unity, you cannot force unity. What we believe in is a unified Nigeria, not really. One Nigeria means you have to deny who you are and be forced to, put on a garment of Nigeria per se. But that is deceit, is an illusion. What we propose is something along the line of, in Switzerland, for instance, they have federalism. There are German-speaking regions, there are Italian-speaking regions, and there are French-speaking regions. You cannot go from the German-speaking region to the Italian-speaking region and become an indigene. It's not possible. There will be war.
So with the way you're speaking as if the Yorubas are marginalized. Is that the case? Because when you say you're agitating for, Yoruba agenda, it sounds like a copycat of what some other ethnics, are looking forward to.
Yeah, marginalized, no, I wouldn't want to use that. We believe we can get more. and we deserve to get more. Because when you say marginalized, almost every ethnic group are going to use the same word. But we believe we can get more. And we deserve more based on what we bring to the table. Yeah.
So what's your message to Nigerians who believe that regional movements like this are a call for succession rather than reform?
No, if we believed in secession, we would come out straight to say so. We don't believe in that. We are Hawaiists. By inspiration, we follow the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. And before he died, he brought up a formula about how to restructure this country. It's out there. His autobiography too is out there. And what he proposed was along the line of Switzerland and Belgium. That is what we are advocating for. Just restructure along ethno-linguistic line. And please let people spend what they generate. Yes. So
do you believe the Yoruba political class is united in this vision for the Yoruba agenda, or are there internal divisions?
Political class, yeah, we can speak for them. Yeah, there are some we relate with.
Are you doing this alone?
Yes.
That's the question.
No. Yes, we have more of the youths behind us, and we can tell you at least 80% of the youth are with us here. And that is what matters.
Right. Because I was wondering what your response would be to critics who say pushing a strong Yoruba agenda undermines national unity. And I've asked you this question before. So is this about separation or about fair coexistence? You know, how can regional self-determination and national unity be balanced? Is there a fair balance between both?
Yeah, like I said, we are well grounded in history. And I want to remind Nigerians that Nigeria is an amalgamation of ethnic nations. Yes. Yes, I know people were taught that Northern and Southern protectorate were amalgamated. But if you really go deep into history, ethnic nations were on their own. And in forming Nigeria, there were clear lines that they agreed to.
Okay.
Yeah, there were clear lines they agreed to. Chief Obafemi Awolowo, he stated everything. There were lines they agreed not to be touched. But the military truncated the process. What we are asking for is to renegotiate those agreements. It's not secession. You have, like Great Hawo, like we call him, said, you have to be a good Yoruba man before you can be a good Nigerian. Because you have to know where you are coming from. Yes.
So what role should, Southwest governors, lawmakers, and traditional rulers play in, advancing this agenda?
Yes. So some of them have already submitted of their proposals. We believe they should push more. Yes. There have been regional seminars and pushes. The National Assembly one still held in Abuja last week, if I remember very well. So
some governors have submitted their proposals on this. So yes. I wanted to know who are the governors?
No, we are talking of the House of Assembly members. Okay, you are specifically talking about governors. No, we've not seen any governor from the Southwest push. They've not been very open. We want them to, but they've not been. We've seen more.
Maybe because they do not buy this. Don't you think so?
To speak freely, there's this.
I mean, the youths want this. Do the elders want this?
They're trying to be politically correct. Let me use that statement.
You blame them?
Well, our region is composed of people from different ethnic backgrounds. And at times they do not want to come out too strongly. But the youths, we are saying no, they must take a stand.
All right. Yes. So what is your general view of the Indigene bill being championed by Southeast legislators?
Yes, we want it thrown in the trash can. We believe it's an invitation for civil wars all over the country. In the sense that...
Let's be mindful of the... I don't want to use the terms war, civil war on the program.
Okay, no. Okay. What I'm talking about is indigene. There's a gene in that word. It's about DNA. You cannot legislate indigenship with a piece of paper. It's not done anywhere in the world. That's what I meant. There's nowhere in the world where it is done. The only place you find such have been where there have been conquest, if you know what I mean. I mean, the indigenous people had been systematically wiped out. Aside that, it does not exist anywhere in the world.
So let me tell you what the proponents of this bill have said. They said it will foster unity by granting indigenship to Nigerians who have lived in the state for at least 10 years or are married to a native. They also say this reduces exclusion and reflects the reality of long-term settlements across geopolitical zones. It is seen as a tool to ensure that Nigerians who are effectively part of a state can enjoy full civic and property rights, access rather to state-level opportunities. And this reflects, according to them, this reflects contemporary demographic realities. Isn't this a step towards national integration?
Okay, okay. Let's move away from the Southwest now. Yeah, okay. Let's talk about the minorities, Middle Belt and the South. Now, if this bill sails through, now there are communities not more than, let's say, 10,000, 15,000. Now, what it means is the major ethnic tribes. We can move over there and just maybe 50,000 of us. We can move over there and after 10 years we are the majority.
Isn't that a step towards national integration?
Now, you are the majority. Do you know what will happen there? You would want political power.
You don't think this will further unite us as a nation?
No, you would want political power. You would want to enforce your own cultural, your own cultural values. You want to implement it on that locality. That's what happens anyway. And what do you think will happen to the indigenous people? So
you see this as an erosion of indigenous rights?
Yes, what we see clearly is extinction. Yes, especially, it's very dangerous for the minorities. And we have to think about them, yes.
And you don't have your facts. You know, you're just speaking out of, this is based on opinion, this is based on emotion. Am I correct?
Okay, look at Israel and Palestine. It's an example everyone knows. Population can be used to easily cause extinction. Right. Easily, it happens anyway.
Let's go back to the issue of state creation. You know, there are those agitating for Ijebu State, Pan-Yoruba State, Warri State, Torobe State, and you've also talked about Okun State from Kogi State. I'm wondering, isn't that selfish? I mean, are we ripe? Are we at that place, at that time, at that period where we can now continue to talk about state creation, when even the states we have cannot take care of? All right.
Yes, we, as a group, I specifically mentioned 3 states. We don't have anything against Ijebu State and the likes, but we are pushing those 3 states because those communities in those states, most of them are fighting an existential war.
Where are you from?
Is that?
Where are you from?
Me? No, I'm from Ogun State. I'm Abeokuta. I'm speaking of Ishekiris. I'm sure you've heard of what they've been going through. They need to be separated from where they are as soon as possible.
But is the timing right? I hear you, is the timing right when the existing states are still struggling with mismanagement?
Yes, we believe there has to be peace. That's why we are targeting those 3 states.
You're from Ogun State. Yes. Are you also agitating for Ijebu State?
I'm not Ijebu, but I don't have anything against it. Okay. But I don't think, personally, just my own personal opinion, it's not the priority for us. Our priority is the coastal states, Ishekiri, Ondo North, Okun. Yeah, Okun, yeah. Those 2 majorly.
Why?
Because of what they are going through.
What are they going through?
Yes, they, for instance, Okun in Kogi, it is almost impossible for them to produce a governor as it stands. Yeah, as it stands.
That's the only reason?
No. If they cannot produce a governor, they can hardly push their own what they want agenda. They are, because you know the way politics is. They can hardly get what they want 50% of the time.
If this is about politics, don't you think that's why some people have said this is selfish and ill-timed?
Politics determine 80% of what we go through and who we are as people. Yes, we can't separate politics.
All right. It was a very important conversation, but sadly we're out of time. But I'm sure we'll continue this conversation some other time. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Lewis, PRO, Think Yoruba First, Oguadulawa Organization, worldwide. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. All right.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG, and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone.
Abnifabi Oguntoye.